Hi again, Gregg of the News Tribune with a Saturday evening backyard edition of the Seahawks Insider video, coming a couple hours after the Seahawks submitted their final cuts of the preseason to get down to 53 men on their roster for the regular season. The biggest surprise to me is Will Tukuafu, the fullback whom the Seahawks cut today. Leaves them without any fullbacks, but I think it was a financial move. Most are, of course, but this one's a little peculiar in that if the Seahawks had kept Tukuafu on the roster for week one, his veteran contract of $760,000 would have been guaranteed for the entire year. The fact that they cut him now and could bring him back after the first game perhaps means they would be essentially paying him a la carte week by week and not have to guarantee all of that $760,000 right now. So I think that's maybe what ends up happening, that the Seahawks think they can get through that first game against the Dolphins on September 11th without a true fullback. Maybe Brandon Williams, who was the fourth of four tight ends on this roster, settled today, could be a part-time blocking back against the Dolphins, and then you bring Tukuafu back when his salary for the entire year would not be guaranteed. We'll see. The Seahawks kept 6 undrafted free agents. Tyvis Powell, the man from Ohio State, the cornerback, safety, special teams standout in August that I wrote about this week in the newstribune.com, made the team. We're not supposed to root for favorites, but I'm pretty happy with the story he had. He grew up without a father in suburban Cleveland. He wanted to quit high school football. He was talked out of it by a new coach and a coaching change, and the coach came in and really stuck it to him in workouts and discipline. And Powell basically nagged his way into a scholarship from Ohio State, showing up there often unannounced. And then he wasn't drafted. 253 guys drafted in May, and he wasn't one of them. And then he showed up in Seattle as an undrafted free agent and really made a mark in the first preseason game and throughout training camp. And he makes the roster undrafted with 5 others, including Tanner McAvoy. It looked like McAvoy, the tight end / wide receiver from Wisconsin, might not make the team because he didn't play in the preseason finale at Oakland on Thursday. But the fact that he made the team says his groin injury might not be that bad. Another receiver who didn't play at Oakland, who did not make the team, is former UW wide receiver Kason Williams. He had a hamstring injury that really didn't get healthy all of August. He made the team practice squad last year and got promoted for the last 7 regular season games plus playoff games, but he is not on the roster, settled on Saturday because of that hamstring injury that just wouldn't allow him to play. The Seahawks kept 9 offensive linemen, including George Fant, the college basketball player from Western Kentucky, and line coach Tom Cable loves his projects, and he loves them raw, and they don't come much more raw than George Fant. I think we all saw the trouble he had with pass rushers, and after the first preseason game, Cable told me outside the locker room that Fant was overwhelmed. But he has potential, he has size, he's 6'5", 6'6", and he's 300-plus pounds with athleticism and the movement of a basketball player, and that's the kind of guy the Seahawks like. Seahawks also kept Jamarcus Webb, who apparently has lost the right tackle starting competition with Gary Gilliam, but Webb and his $2.75 million guaranteed proved too much to cut. So he is on the roster as what looks to be a backup right tackle at the moment. The Seahawks cut Jari Evans, the 10-year pro that they got from New Orleans, signed as a free agent after he did 10 years in New Orleans, 4-time All-Pro. Evans just didn't seem to have it. It took a long time to get him acclimated into practice, let alone preseason playing shape. And the fact that they kept Reese Odiambo and others as a backup guard means that the Seahawks didn't need Jari Evans, so he was released today. Trevone Boykin is still the second of 2 quarterbacks on the roster. I'm not sure it's going to stay that way. I think the Seahawks are still shopping. They're not completely convinced the undrafted rookie from TCU has the game managing of play calling and the fundamentals, the absolute fundamentals of quarterbacking in the NFL, making changes at the line of scrimmage, getting everybody in the right place. Those are the fundamentals that Boykin has struggled with. So I think you're going to see the Seahawks still going out shopping at quarterback. The of the 6 undrafted free agents, I know a lot of you have thought about Nolan Freeze and the long snapper. The long snapper drummer will apparently continue. Freeze is still on the roster, although I think that's another position that the Seahawks will continue to shop. The Seahawks made 2 trades, both with Bay Area teams, one to San Francisco to get a safety who looks to be a special teams contributor, L.J. McCray. They sent a 2018 7th-round pick to the 49ers, a conditional pick for him, and they got Dewey McDonald, a a safety from Oakland for another conditional 7th round pick, that one in 2017. Both McDonald and McCray look like they're going to be special teams contributors. Those trades are much like the Seahawks made on cut day of 2015 when they traded pick to Kansas City to get Kelsey McCray. So now the Seahawks have 2 McCrays at safety and special teams in the secondary. Only 4 running backs on the roster right now. Tremaine Pope, everybody's favorite undrafted rookie, did not make the team, and I think that was an issue of the Seahawks believing they can probably get Pope from Jacksonville State through waivers and onto the practice squad after this weekend, where they didn't think they could get 5th round pick Alex Collins, a 3-time 1,000-yard rusher in the SEC at Arkansas, through those same waivers because he's more well known and has raw physical skills the NFL may covet. So I think the Collins made the roster, frankly, because they think he could not get through waivers and they would lose him. So Alex Collins is the 4th of 4 running backs. C.J. Procise, Christian Michael, and Thomas Rawls are the others. So 9 offensive linemen and 4 running backs. Will Tukuafu being the biggest cut, I think the most surprising one. The other starter cut today, 2 starters, Marcus Burley, who was really falling out with the addition of these new young backup defensive backs, former nickel back and starting cornerback for the Seahawks. And the other one is Jordan Hill, who this defensive tackle, 4th year, he's in the final year of his 4-year contract, 3rd round pick from 2013. The Seahawks just got tired of waiting for him to stay healthy. He had a hamstring tweak, to use Pete Carroll's word, in the Oakland preseason game, and Carroll did not sound too thrilled with the fact that Hill was hurt yet again. He missed most of August with a groin injury. The misnomer here is that this is a final roster. It's not. It's the final cuts of the preseason. This is a team that has made 1,400 plus transactions in 6 years under Pete Carroll and John Schneider. I expect this to be a very fluid roster at the bottom of it, especially, and that the roster set today may not be the one that takes the field against Miami 8 days from now. The Seahawks will be back on the practice field on Monday. There may be changes to the roster before then, and I'll be there to cover it. Thanks for watching.